Thank you, Dr. Little, Madam Chair, members of the board. The hour's late, so I'll try to be brief. Tonight I am bringing...
This is too important. Don't take your
Okay.
time and do it
Thank you.
well,
Thank
because
you.
we get so many questions on this.
Well, tonight I'm bringing you for first reading a proposed 2020-21 district academic calendar. And I would be remiss if I didn't begin by thanking the district calendar committee, made up of principals, assistant principals, teachers, parents, and central services staff. We have met 3 times, and we feel really good about this proposed calendar. I do want to give a shout out to River Bluff High School teacher Karen Ray, who served on the calendar committee. And when we had a conversation about surveying our parents, Ms. Ray teaches AP Probability and Statistics at River Bluff. And Dr. Phillips is on the calendar committee as well. And so she approached him and she said, would you come out and meet with my class and work with my students to design questions for the survey? So I think that's really neat. So Dr. Phillips did that. He brushed his teaching skills up. He went out. He was worried the students were going to be smarter than he was. They were not. And they designed questions for our survey.
Was that his report?
I'm sorry?
No, they weren't.
It was really, it was neat. It was just very, very neat. It's real world application for those students. They were excited about the project. So having now gotten input from students, rising 10th and 11th graders, all of our employees, and all of our parents, we've taken that input and we've considered that input, and that's what you see in front of you tonight. I do want to point out a few points to this calendar that I think make it a good calendar. This calendar, if you'll notice, has weather makeup days in both semesters. We've tossed that around a lot. Those weather makeup days are November 2nd, February 15th, and April 2nd. I'm looking at Mr. Salters because he and I have this conversation all the time. There's debates on both sides of the aisle regarding whether you should have a weather makeup day in first semester. We cannot predict the weather. And just because historically we've had bad weather first semester doesn't mean we are going to in this year. But anyway, in that calendar, you will note that. You'll also note that there's a parent-teacher conference. Overwhelmingly, parents and teachers want a parent-teacher conference in the calendar. And in this calendar, that's October the 9th. You will also note that there are periodic breaks in this calendar throughout the school year. This year happens to be, I can hardly believe this, but it's a national election year. So we have to take November 3rd off as a holiday. But you'll begin looking in November. Every month there's a little break. In some cases, a pretty good break for teachers. This calendar also has spring break aligned with Easter and Good Friday. Overwhelmingly, that's what our community would like to have. In this calendar, students begin on a Tuesday. The first day for students is August the 18th. The last day for students is June the 3rd. Teacher work days are June the 4th and June the 7th, so June the 7th would be the last day for our teachers. I'm pleased to say that this is a balanced calendar, even though it's difficult to create a balanced calendar because of the non-flexibility that we have in the state. But this calendar shows 91 days in first semester and 89 in second semester. Be happy to answer any questions. I would ask you to please look at the calendar thoroughly over the next month. If you have any questions for me, please email me, call me. Bring your questions back next month because I'll be asking for a vote on this calendar or changes to the calendar for next month.
If say, we wanted to take the weather makeup day off of first semester and move it back to second or move it over to second, do you have a proposed date that y'all discussed before you moved it?
I do. Where we would put it would be, we would chunk it on one of those days where we have a little break, probably maybe in the March. We could do it in the March date. Okay. We'd have to discuss that. We have to look at it. Okay. But we could move it.
I just am so ambivalent about that.
I know. I feel it. I feel you.
Because you know that you'll be perfectly, there won't be a cloud in the sky and there won't be a hurricane anywhere, so who knows.
Dr. Talley, I think this calendar looks amazing. As a parent, this is a calendar that I can live with.
Mm-hmm.
I went this afternoon down to the State House to the K-12 subcommittee because they were discussing a start date bill that Representative Wooten wrote. And it was incredibly frustrating because they're pretty tone deaf to kind of our requests. But I think that this looks great. I mean, one of the arguments that Horry County was making for not moving the start date is that it would increase our air conditioning costs in August to go earlier. And that he was saving us money while also making millions of dollars in tourism happen for the state. So I think this looks pretty awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just for the record, we don't turn our air
I
conditioning
was
off.
just going to say, I was made aware of that today. Mr.
creates
Staymeyer
mold.
told me that we keep the air and the heat on year round. We don't lower it because of mold.
I just appreciate, I think Dr. Little has testified in the House regarding the non-flexibility the districts are had, and I just appreciate his advocacy and the board's advocacy. It would make building a calendar so much easier, honestly, if we had more flexibility. But we don't, so we make it work.
Yeah. Board, any other questions or comments regarding the calendar? Okay, thank you, Dr. Talley. Dr. Little?
Yes, ma'am.